It's the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. Matt is apparently on vacation, but still working hard. The Matt Warner we all know.
He's always winning is what he's doing. I don't care where he's at. He's winning right now. He might be in a basement, winning in the basement.
That's right.
Or he just doesn't trust us to do this show by ourselves. He used to, but I think we've lost all.
Emily said, I don't know if I can do this by myself with Joe. I said, whatever you need, Emily, I'm here for you. I'm willing to help out.
You better tell me that people like me.
Flames, and love you, and you're special, whatever.
Yeah.
We have a lot to react to on this week's Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. The Flames pick up their first road win under the Jamie Chadwell era, taking down Buffalo. I don't know if you saw the post-game celebration in this one, but if Chad Scott doesn't want to be a head strength and conditioning coach anymore, he can move to Spain and run with the Bulls and do.
You know what? He'd be a great guy to run with the Bulls. That's a good idea.
Gosh, I definitely
Chad,
jump
I'm
on his
going to
back.
take you up on that. Me and you in Spain, running with the Bulls.
Let's do it. It's a matador, right? Is what those are called?
Matador.
Yeah.
A matador.
I bet I could talk 100%, 100%, and I would pay for it too. I bet I could talk Chad Scott not only to run with the Bulls, but to get in the ring with the Bulls and do the whole sword in the back kind of stuff.
Well, that's what he did on Saturday after the Flames victory. Let's talk about our takeaways, but we have a lot to get to. Like I said, we have Flames Fantasy League update. We'll preview FIU. Some bloodbath comments coming from the field hockey pitch. We have a lot to break down. But first, let's go with Matt Warner all the way in Kansas City, Missouri, with his initial takeaway on this victory.
Hey, Matt, what's the giant squirrel in the background there? What is that
Which thing? Who knows? This is where I'm in the basement right now.
Hey, what is that thing?
So
the folks want to know.
I have no idea.
Matt, he's lying. Just please give us your takeaway. Let's talk football.
My big takeaway was, and we touched on a little bit last week, is that Liberty's showing they can win in a lot of different ways. You have, Vaughn Blue go out with injury. You have Cooley and Lucas dinged up. And Liberty says, okay, we're just going to stretch the field. We're just going to utilize these weapons on the outside and beat you that way. And that's something that we've been waiting for Smoot to show up, right? We'd heard so much about him in camp and see how he had so much potential. You saw that show up. CJ Daniels is still a beast. Trayon Sibley continues to produce week in and week out. And so that's the exciting thing for me. If teams are going to be like, okay, we're going to try to take away the run or slow down the run game. Well, now you see you've got, number one, a quarterback who can beat you down the field. Jamie Chadwell, after the game, said he has an elite arm, the best he's probably ever been around as a coach. And then you see the weapons on the outside starting to show up as well. Like, pick your poison. How are you going to stop this Liberty offense? Right now, nobody's been able to on either side, whether it's the run game or now throwing the football. Salter's been better than I think any of us could have expected coming into the year.
Yeah, 4 different Liberty receivers picking up a touchdown in that game. So really, really great to see. When we look on the defensive side, Jamie Chadwell said after the game, we really want to play 4 complete quarters. I don't think our defense has done that yet. Too many penalties. I think they finished with 10. So what can you take away from the defensive performance in this win?
Yeah, the defense had showed at times, right? Like, hey, we can dominate the football game. It was just a couple spurts there where it got away from it. Now, give Buffalo credit. They fought hard, especially late into the second quarter when it was getting away from them, and they were able to battle their way back in it with some, especially receiver play. It's made some big plays. But I think defensively, it's like they've shown those signs of total dominance. Now, the hard part is this. I think was the hard part. When you have an offense that is as explosive as Liberty is becoming, and Kaidon is playing as well as he's playing, and like Matt said, you're getting so much improvement, so much better play from the receiver position. I said early on, hey, this thing may take some time. Well, I think the time's up. Like they're rolling. I thought it might take. They might have to struggle through some games and win on defense. But their offense is rolling. So I think the hard part defensively is when you're going to score a lot of points. Can you maintain that side of the ball where it's like, I don't care how many points we score. We are going to dominate, right? You have to have that attitude. And it's hard to have that attitude when you have a very dominant offense. So sooner or later, though, you're going to run into a team that you're going to get in a dogfight with. So you have to come in with that every possession, every down. we are going to make the stops and we are going to become a dominant defense no matter what the offense does.
Yeah, and it seems like it's always around the same time frame, right? Like coming out of half, that's when the defense is locked in. And they were asked about this after the game about some of the players and Shadwell. Like, what's going on at halftime? Like, what's the message that they're getting across at halftime? Because it seems like they're coming out after that and just locking in.
Yeah, I mean, credit the coaching staff. If it's adjustments, if that's what it is that they're making, then great. If it's just like, hey, okay, let's take a breath. Now we've seen how they're trying to attack us. Now we can settle in. Whatever the case, you like seeing that in the back half of games, the way that they've responded. But yeah, I'm with Joe too, because you're right. Because think about a lot of great offenses we've seen, whether it's at the NFL level or college football over the years. When you know you have an explosive offense and explosive quarterback, I think as a defense, sometimes you feel like, if we give up a couple of touchdowns, we'll be all right. We're going to score a bunch, and it's easy to kind of just maybe lose focus here or there. But I'll say this too, like in this day and age, and Liberty did a great job against the run against Buffalo, which was awesome. We hadn't seen that from them yet, and Buffalo hasn't been a good running football team either. But
yeah, held them to just 87 yards on the ground.
Yeah, this day and age, if you'd rather pick a side on what you're really good at, I think it would rather be against the pass, because that's what we see so often, in college football, teams slinging it around the yard. And right now, Liberty, like, man, you got linebackers that are picking off, you Dupree with 2 of them, you had Jolly a game with 2 of them. Like, you've got athletes out there that make it really tough in the passing game. And we've seen that, they lead the nation in interceptions.
Go ahead, Joe. Were you going to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, no, just like to play off a little bit Matt's saying is once again, I think that when they come out in the second half and they know that offense is going to score points, when you play a team like a Western Kentucky that's coming up, some of these teams that are coming down the road, sooner or later you're going to face somebody that is going to stop you, and you have to be mentally prepared. And I think you're starting to see that in the second half. You have to be mentally prepared to be able to say, okay, it's time for us to lace up the cleats a little bit tighter and do our job on our side of the ball.
Yeah, and allowing 10 penalties and letting teams stay in the game, and against a Western Kentucky team and a higher competition, with higher competition. Go ahead, Matt.
The exciting thing too is we talk about on the defensive side how little experience a lot of these guys had coming into the year. I mean, you got like a freshman like TJ Bush that's playing a ton. You got young guys. You're seeing growth from them, and you're winning at the same time.
Right. It's a lot easier to clean up that stuff when you're winning games.
And that doesn't always go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You don't make those strides all the time and result in a win. Sometimes you take your lumps early on, and then you're better down the stretch. Like, it's exciting that they're continuing to grow while Liberty is winning. So imagine, we always talk about whenever Kendi Charles comes back, what could that do for this defense?
Right.
Well, imagine how much better they could be on the back half of this schedule when these young guys aren't really freshmen anymore. They have a lot of snaps under their belt.
Yeah, and there's that depth there on the D-line. So hopefully we'll get Kendi. If it's not FIU, there's a bye week, and then coming on the other side of the bye.
Let's go, Kendi.
It's that Thursday, October 5th game. So hopefully he'll be back on the line by then. Speaking of injuries, okay, we heard Matt say it early, and Coach Chadwell touched on it in the post-game press conference. Von Blue went down. I don't know exactly what the injury is or that timetable, but the good thing is there is that depth in the running back room, but not as many touches for Cooley. But what's your concern level? Because we talked from Coach Isaac that Newland that there are 5 guys in that room that he really feels confident about.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame to see that happen to Vaughn, who, like I said, you don't know the extent of the injury, but still, like, he's such a promising, like, that his ability to catch the ball in the backfield, his ability to run the ball, all the things that you're looking for in running back in this specific type of offense. So, and freshman year, you hate to see that happen to him, but hopefully he'll get back and get back in lineup. But from a position standpoint, that is a spot that they have a lot of depth and a lot of good players. And so, and the other big part of it too is as the passing game has improved so much, and you see how well Kaidon's playing, that then you're not going to have to rely so heavily on the running game, because like if you make people spread out and defend the pass, then you're going to be able to run the football with the guys that we have. So having Kaidon playing as well as he's playing right now. And another big part of this too, guys don't get credit for, Matt said a little bit, is how much the receiver. We had so many question marks at the receiver
I know,
position.
because of those injuries early on,
all
right?
the injuries are on, but guys like C.J. Daniels, Smoot, Sibley has played so well. Noah Frith made some plays. So I mean, there is some depth across the receiver board. So you got to give credit to a guy like it does. You don't hear his name often, but Tony Washington, the wide receivers coach, is doing a really good job with those guys, and they're playing a lot better.
Don't forget about those tight ends. Austin Henderson got a score this week too. Matt, go ahead.
And a name to keep in mind, too, with the running back position is Aaron Bedgood, who we saw take an option down the sideline for a long touchdown. He played some running back at Coastal as well as receiver. They've shown that they're okay trying to use him a little bit in that option game as well. So he's another guy that could factor in to the rushing attack for the Flames if say Cooley or Lucas are a little bit more banged up than maybe it appeared. Like, he's another guy that could probably factor in there as well.
So bringing back Bedgood, what's so cool about him is that not only was he understanding this offense from the running back position, but also the wide receiver. He can help any of these other guys that are, not picking up this offense as quickly. There's just so many benefits to having him on this roster. I think we're going to do a little story on him because he used to work at State Farm selling insurance and the
How
coaching.
about that?
Look, it's kind of like your look right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit
the
like
khakis and the red polo. That's how they should start his feature. Hi, my name.
He was actually wanting to sponsor our podcast, and we said, well, I don't know. We kind of have Alcova right now. But then he ended up coming back to play. So
but the contract, the Alcova Mortgage contract is, ending soon.
It's an ironclad contract.
Kaidon Salter, 344 yards through the air, 5 touchdowns, 66 on the ground, a rushing touchdown as well. Well, what can you say about Kaidon Salter? I mean,
hold on, Matt. Matt, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do we still have a quarterback controversy right now on the map?
I don't think so.
Don't even get me started, Matt. I'm not going to say things that we say off the record, but going into the season, I'm just not going to even bring it up. Go ahead and tell me what you can say about Kaidon Salter and his performance through these first 3 games.
I've thought about this. I thought about this a lot, obviously.
That's good. That's what you're supposed to do when you're preparing for a podcast.
Because
I'm glad you're actually thinking beforehand and not during, but go ahead.
Please let me know when you're finished. We done now?
I was actually a little worried about the chemistry with Matt being so far away.
I'm worried.
Zooming in, but here we are. The chemistry
There's
just picking up.
only so much I can do from here. Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to be serious for a minute. That's hard. That's hard to do. You see, it was good to have that battle between Jonathan Bennett and Kaidon Salter throughout, spring through the camp but you have seen Kaidon really step up and develop into the quarterback that he is now. And I think so much of that goes back to which I really believe, and I don't know the details of it, how they do it, obviously, but I think there is what this staff, what Willie Korn, Jamie Chadwell do really, really well from developing the quarterback position is they simplify it early on, do a great job of teaching the fundamentals, do a great job of teaching his mechanics, do a great job of giving things that are going to help him to be successful, and then just as he gets better, just adding a little bit more, until you start. And then I think what they started to realize, like a lot of this has to do with, hey, how a guy plays in practice can be different than how a guy reacts when you actually turn the lights on.
Right.
And so what Kaidon how he has responded with the lights on, I think it has helped them ramp up the process because he's done so well to say, okay, hey, maybe we can speed this thing up from a coaching perspective and give him a little bit more and let him open it up as he gains more confidence, has more success. And I think they've balanced that out so well. They've had a good measuring stick on how well he's done and how well he's progressed. And now it's gotten to the point where, like, man, we may have something special here.
And think about how much it helps a quarterback's confidence going into this battle, back in fall, that, hey, I'm not going to get this job stripped away from me if I make a mistake. Like, they're all in on me if I win this job. And you can see the work that he did in the film room to really understand this offense. And you can just tell that, in game, that confidence, and obviously he's making huge plays.
Yeah.
Well, and think about this, too. I feel like going into the year, we heard so much about the running backs, the run game, that I feel like for Salter, he may have even gone into this season thinking like, okay, we have the weapons. Like, I just need to just not mess up. You know what I mean? Like, just make the plays that are there. I don't have to do too much. There's not too much on my plate. But like Joe said, now that you're starting to see him continue to learn and grow in this offense, now they can start adding layers to it, and he becomes more of a weapon. I mean, I think it's 9 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Like, he hasn't even been putting the ball in dangerous spots.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't. Like, there's been times
curse.
where, you know, in the red zone, I think back to that New Mexico State game, where maybe a year before, he would have tried to fit one in there that wasn't really there. And he's like, I'm just going to throw it out the back of the end zone. Who cares? We'll try it again next play. Like, that's the maturity, too, that you're seeing from him that surprises me. Because sometimes when you're an elite athlete, big-time playmaker, that's the hardest thing to do. Think about what we always said with Malik. Like, hey, man, it's okay to throw the ball away sometimes. You're taking big hits.
Right.
You're put like, just throw it away. But you're such an elite athlete, you always think there's a play to be made. Well, he's showing that maturity here, you know, this season early on, that we're like, okay, I'll just throw it away. That's fine. I can live with that. And that's kind of that next step of maturity too, that, you know, limits what could be a big turnover or a boneheaded play or whatever. Like, he's showing growth in that area as well.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but after he scores a touchdown, I really want to see
Is he Salt dropping?
this Salt.
You need to get with him on that.
I need to get with him on that. I think one of the coaches did say, but yeah, really great to see this offense coming alive early in the season. Before we preview FIU, what was I going to talk about? Your top players. Who would your top player of the game be?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Kaidon. I mean, Kaidon.
Back-to-back weeks, I think, for JauchTalk.
Yeah, I think he's playing at another level right now. And like when you start, Matt said, you start looking at the stats. And I think one of the things in many ways, just to, you know, make the point of this, is that he got there was this cautious optimism about him going into the season, right? And it's like, oh, just manage the game. Don't make any really bad mistakes. But if you go all the way back, and I can't remember, Matt, the game it was that we did his very first start, and it was sort of a rainy, I can't remember who they played, but he played well, didn't play great, but he didn't turn over the football, right, in that game. So it's like, oh, it's not like this guy has this long history of, oh, he just plays poorly and he throws a ton of interceptions and he's just got to manage the game. I think from his perspective, he looks at it like, wait, I really don't have a history of turning it over. I don't turn it over. Let me just go out and do what I do, and then trust me to make good decisions when I'm put in bad positions. And so I think that is a thing. I think what I'm saying there is from the mental side of things. I think mentally he's a lot further along than people have given him credit for.
Remember, he was a 4-star out of high school, went to Tennessee, you know, came here to Liberty and was in that battle with JB the last few seasons. But yeah, I agree. I'm going back-to-back weeks with Kaidon Salter as well, and just, I mean, I
on a side note, the guy who really stepped out with Matt said, and I believe he's his fantasy guy. It's
Smoot on the stat sheet. I have that. Smoot on the stat sheet. That's what I had. You know, really took me a while to come up with that one. Matt, who's your player of the week?
Yeah, it's Smoot on the stat sheet.
I was going to say Smoot for sure is up there because you're looking for that, like, who can be that other guy that steps up? We saw C.J. Daniels have the big game. Who can be that other guy? Smoot looks like he could be. And then Tyron Dupree. I mean, as well as he played, he was that close to making a third interception, laying out and almost snagged one. Like, he's a guy that's finally getting an opportunity to shine, and he's ready. He's ready for it. Like, he's had a great year thus far, and both he and Jolly, both like guys, they've been around for a while, but you hadn't seen them in this type of big role, and both have been really, really good. And so I'm really happy for a kid like Tyron, who I think it's his 6th year now here. You'll finally get the opportunity.
That reminded me that at the press conference last week. I'm like, wait, he was like, yeah, I think he's been here for 20 or 25 years.
I mean, wow.
This means that Flames fantasy standings might be a little closer, and we're going to just leave Joe Yock in the dust. I have a feeling. I'm not trying to project anything.
It's a long season.
But we'll get to that in just a moment. Post-game celebrations. Any more comments on the bull? And I mean, they even brought in a little Bills Mafia. They threw the bull on the picnic table thing. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Now, Joe, you might remember this, Joe. I had suggested, because, you know, it's like, oh, okay, what might they do this week? There's actually kind of a famous story. I think it was the old coach Jackie Sherrill, who once, before his team played Texas, brought a bull into the locker room and castrated it in front of the team. That was my suggestion. I suggested that for a post-game celebration. Maybe they just couldn't find a live bull in time. I don't know. But
animal rights have already been all over this staff. Let's just please
maybe that would have gone
not
maybe that was going
suggest
too far.
things like that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Remember, you can be a part of the show if you want to join. It's Flame Central.
If you want to.
Yeah. After that comment, probably
we're not going to force you. It's only if you want
if you want to.
Yeah.
It's part of our mailbag segment. Flame Central at Liberty.
We are not like the vaccine. We will not force it. It's only if you want to.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh!
Matt Therapy just fell
Yeah,
out.
he's going back upstairs. If you want me to give you the email, I'll mute Joe Yock's mic in the back in 3, 2. flamecentral@liberty.edu, which while you're shooting an email there and you're on the World Wide Web, we want to give you an opportunity to be a part of what Alcova Mortgage is doing with some Liberty alumni.
Yeah, Alcova Mortgage, if you are a Liberty alumni, a Liberty employee, Liberty staff, we are offering, if you purchase, refinance a house, we're offering up to $5,000 credit. That's real money. We're talking about cold hard cash. So if you needed $20,000 at closing, you could potentially need $15,000 at closing. So it's a Friends of Liberty program that we have come directly working with Liberty University on this to help people hardworking Americans put money back in their pocket on their home purchase or refinance. So
I love it. JauchTalk, baby.
Yes, baby.
Flame Central podcast powered
by Alcova Mortgage.
By Alcova Mortgage. Okay, up next for Liberty is FIU, another road game. It seems like they handled this road trip to Buffalo just fine. You know, they're going to Niagara Falls before the game. That was actually like 20 minutes before. They went on the way to the game. No, I'm just joking. No, I don't want to spread any rumors here. But they are heading to Florida International University down in Miami, Florida. 3 straight victories coming from FIU after losing to Louisiana Tech in the season opener. Since then, they've beat Maine, North Texas in a close one that they finished off against UConn this past week. What do you know about FIU, Matt Warner?
Well, they're kind of weird. Like you look at what they've been, every game has been within 7 points. And you talked about that. They've all been tight. They've only scored more than 24 points once. That was against North Texas, a team that has just an awful defense. And you look at the stats, and it's like they're losing in every category. And yet somehow they've been winning games. They only convert 24% of their third down opportunities. They're outgained by their opponents. Like, it's been a weird year for them, but they found a way to get it done. After the first game that they lost to Louisiana Tech, they made a change at quarterback. They've gone with a freshman, Kewan Jenkins, and he's been getting better each week. Didn't commit a turnover against UConn, so that's been good. But like, you just look at them on paper, and you're like, I don't understand how this has happened. Liberty opened up as around 11-point favorite, so much bigger than what we saw against Buffalo. But I will say this is FIU's homecoming. So if they're going to have a good crowd, they're going to have a good environment.
Miami.
This is probably the game to do it with the homecoming game. So, Liberty's going to have to strap it up. And remember, conference game, right?
Yep.
So we keep going back to this. This means a little bit more. You can't go down there and drop a game like this. This is one that you need to take care of business in. But I think Liberty, if they perform the way they have been, they should be fine.
Right. You got anything on FIU, or I'm going to just go around the CUSA? We're going to go around the CUSA. Western Kentucky, I don't know if you remember, we told you last week, they played Ohio State. So obviously a really tough test, 63-10. Our boy, I don't have the stats.
Guys probably could have hung 100. They had, I think, 48 at the half, I want to say. I thought that would be a lot closer, actually.
Yeah, that wasn't very pretty.
Yeah, because Michigan and you got the scores. Michigan, Bowling Green.
Here, go ahead. Obviously, Liberty took down Buffalo 55-27. FIU 24-17 over UConn. North Texas took down La Tech 40-37. Middle Tennessee over Murray State 35-14. New Mexico State, Diego Pavia 27-17 over New Mexico. Little in-state battle there. And then UTEP lost to Arizona 31-10. So that's a look around the CUSA. Again, locking back in for this Conference USA opponent for the Flames this week against FIU. So hopefully they pick up right where they left off. I'm sure they'll have a great week of practice here. Tombstone Tuesday tomorrow.
It's Tombstone Tuesday.
We never told you about that. Talk about a cliffhanger. 2 shows removed. We're going to tell you what Tombstone Tuesday means. And you can't.
We always pay off our teases.
You can't.
We always pay it off.
You can't say bloodbath because that's too
bloodbath.
offensive. So
No, dude,
Tombstone
don't.
Tuesday is actually a nicer way the Flames have, because I think they used to use bloodbath at Coastal Carolina. But
it's
anyways,
getting softer
that's
and
another little
softer.
tease for the field hockey talk in just a moment. But Tombstone Tuesday is like you got to lock into practice today. Like
Yeah.
obviously you have to be
bury 'em.
locked in every single
the
day,
hole.
but that is their practice where everyone is just hitting hard and getting it all, setting the tone for the week. So that's what Tombstone Tuesday is. Sorry we kept you hanging for so long on that. Okay, let's get to the Flames fantasy draft while Matt pulls up the numbers on that.
We
I
don't need the
cannot
numbers.
wait to get to the bold predictions.
We don't need the numbers.
I think Damian Sordelette called me out because I think I said 3 Liberty players are going to finish with 100 yards. Maybe I didn't. We'll have to
Through
roll
the
the
air.
tape back. But I'm just telling you right now, I think that I hit my bold prediction pretty well. But we'll get to that in just a moment. Flames fantasy draft updates.
Yeah.
Matt Warner.
It's not a draft
It's out.
anymore.
I
Yeah,
keep
let's
saying
start
standings
with
league.
Joe. Okay, let's start with Joe. It was a tough week for Joe.
Music to my
Obviously,
ears.
Von Blue's injury didn't help. His leading scorer was Quentin Reese with 7 points.
That's
Joe
a
finished the
defender,
week with
y'all.
That's my leading score.
Joe finished the week with 16.3 points for a total of 73.3.
Wow.
So that's
I think
what he
I
has right
scored
now.
that in the first quarter. Continue.
Emily was led by CJ Daniels once again. He had 18.6, and she got contributions up and out. Even the Austin Henderson got a touchdown late, which helped her.
Knew I should have
She scored
drafted him first.
She scored 41 points, and she has
41.
102 now on the year. So she's at 102. And then finally, my team, Smoot had almost 24 points. Tyron Dupree had 18 and a half. Those
That's
two
so
guys
annoying.
carry me. I put up 50 points this
Oh
week.
my.
And so I have a total of 119.8. So
All right. Wait, what's Joe's
those-
final? What is
73.3.
That's okay.
So he's got some more to do.
It's a
And
long
Joe now will have the opportunity, we think, to utilize the injury clause.
We're going
If
in.
Von Blue is going to be
Right.
out for a little bit,
We're going to the
he
portal.
can swap out for he can go to the portal.
Love
Yeah.
to see it. Bold predictions. We,
what-
obviously it's I think the segment,
Where's bold predictions?
bold predictions right
Bold
here.
predictions. I got you right
they
here.
basically
Matt's got the bold predictions.
speak for themselves. We predict things that are very bold.
Joe predicted Liberty to hold Buffalo under 200 total yards and win 49-7.
Whoa, yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
that was actually good.
That's a predictable the blowout. Yes, I was the only one who predicted the
Yeah,
blowout.
Matt thought it was going to be close. I'm
Yeah.
going to go tell Jamie Chadwell
Blowout.
that after
Thank
this
you.
podcast, actually.
Thank you.
Emily.
Wait, hold on. How many yards did
Emily-
they have? Let me see.
It's
Yeah,
right
what was
here.
it, Em? You have it in front of you?
Yeah, total
Total yards?
87.
Yeah, not under 200.
not
Thank
under
you.
200.
He's bold. He's a predictor. He's JauchTalk, baby.
It's not under 200.
It's under 200
No.
and a blowout. Thank
No.
you. Joe
No.
wins once
No,
again.
on the ground?
No, I still told.
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I won
You did
again.
not.
Total
All right, go
yards.
ahead.
No.
Go ahead,
Anyways,
Matt.
go ahead.
Emily had 3 Flames rushed for over a 100.
Yeah, fat chance of that.
I didn't
And-
mean to say rushed.
Receive.
Yeah, and Liberty win 42-14. So her score was
Ooh,
pretty.
mine was
Oh, you
probably
predicted
the
him. I didn't
closest.
realize you predicted
Yeah,
him,
Matt's
Bob.
like, oh, it's going to be 27-24 or
Yeah.
something.
I took Tegan Lindrink to make the game-winning field goal, not on the roster by game time. So
What a
I was
bold
out of the
prediction.
running.
What a bold
I was
prediction.
I was out of the running before they even kicked it off.
Nick Brown was 2 for
So
2.
yeah, and I had Liberty winning
The
by
other
a field
guy
goal.
isn't even on the team anymore.
Yeah,
He's not even
yeah.
on the roster.
So-
We'll get more information on
that
that
That's the
tomorrow.
worst. If we had to make a segment on the worst bold
Yeah.
prediction in history of bold
I ripped
predictions,
on that one.
that
Yeah.
one is hands down
Yeah,
the
but
winner.
he's crushing us in Flames Fantasy League.
I might
so.
as well
Not
have
done.
picked Malik Willis to throw a touchdown in a game or something. Like someone that's just not. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Malik
Oh.
didn't play in the NFL yesterday. However, Demario Douglas had 2 catches for, I believe, 19 yards. I could be wrong on that. But
Yeah,
those
the
are 2
fumble.
early.
Yeah.
He had a fumble, which kind of I don't know how much he got out there after that, but
Yeah,
unfortunately,
because those 2 catches are pretty early.
yeah,
But
yeah. Was their main punt returner though too, so he got a lot of action out there in that.
right, really, really trying to get up
job
to
for
New England to catch up with Demario Douglas. So we'll keep you in the loop
nice.
from that. We have a great story coming out on Flame Central this week on Quentin Cooley. Really, really brave guy who shared his story and about his childhood. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Not going in the fire again until that home game October 5th. So we have some great features coming your way in the meantime. Okay, let's do bold predictions against FIU. And then actually think on that, Matt Warner. I think we have a little rant coming from Joe Yock because huge rivalry between Liberty and ODU field hockey. They the Flames shut out Old Dominion 2-0 on Friday night, okay?
Yeah.
Leading up to the game, I don't know exactly how it happened, but I think head coach Nikki Parsley-Blocker said something about it being a bloodbath because this is just like a huge rivalry that's been going on for years.
Super physical. This is an intense rivalry.
That is just something that you say in sports. It's going to be a bloodbath. Right. I don't know how it was said, whatever, but the head field hockey coach for ODU went to social media on this whole rant about how you shouldn't say that. It's inappropriate. It's disrespectful. Well, then he got shut out. So that pretty much spoke for itself. But Joe Yock, what is your stance on just like, I don't know, people, I do want to have some feelings here for other people. But in terms of sports, is this kind of talk acceptable and or disrespectful?
I mean, Matt, you sure you want me to take on this topic?
We're gonna.
Are you sure you want me to be the one guy speaking on this? I did
just pause between sentences so we can.
We'll get some pause between it. No, it's not bad. So I did wake up and see that him go on this little thing about it being a bloodbath, and then he tried to relate that to, obviously he said his son got in an accident and that, he didn't want to show up for that to be a bloodbath. But I was like, I guess the best way to describe this is go to a social media post, and then the best way to tell how people respond to something is read the comments.
Exactly.
And so,
it is so true.
This is like this is a truly read the comments moment. But come on, like let's be real here. Like there's football teams that equate, hey, we're getting ready to go play a football game. We're going to war, right? That's said all the time. It's a figure of speech.
Right.
Okay, nobody's going to war. Nobody's, nobody in the field hockey world wants there to be the opponent's blood spilled on. I mean, it's a figure of speech. It's just ridiculous. It was so 2023 on the soft side of this world. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, dude, come on. Like, do you really think that people think that the Liberty coaches, Liberty players are going in there to really try to injure people and cause a bloodbath? It means you're going to play hard. You're going to play physical. You're going to do what you got to do. You want to win the game, shake hands, move on. I mean, it was like, come on. And then just the whole sound of it was just grossly soft.
Oh, man, I wish I looked this up before.
Is that too hard? Is that too heavy?
No. And I'll just say, like, I'm glad she didn't say that was going to be a barn burner, because there have been people that have lost barns to fires. You know what I mean? Like that has happened.
That's their livelihood.
It's like what you could find any phrase like that you're going to say, oh, it's going to be a shootout. But you could turn that like, come on. Like everybody knows what it is.
Here's my point.
It's weak.
Like, it wasn't going to be a shootout. It was a shutout.
It was a shutout. That's a pack line defense, baby.
Exactly.
That's a pack line. But here's what you have to put through your head. You have to be so offended by that. And then put it through your head and sit down and really think about it and go, you know what? I'm going to go to social media with this. Not just think
I also don't think,
come on.
Joe, as a coach,
come on.
Do you feel like if you're like that, almost like,
that's not, if I'm a player for that.
Right. It doesn't give off a feeling of like strength and confidence. Like when you're like, like I've got to go to like, come on. We all know what it is. And as a player, you're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I think even as a player, if my coach did that, I'd be like, what?
I mean, that was and the bottom line is that was a 2-0 game. And to be honest with you, it was a defensive bloodbath for Liberty.
Yeah, pretty funny. I can't find the comment, but it was like, this is one of the people that, took PE out of our class schedules or something. It was, I don't know. It was a funny comment.
But you know what? This rivalry isn't going away.
I know. You just made it that much worse.
It's only heating up.
That much worse. Okay, bold predictions looking ahead to FIU. What are we going with? Matt Warner, we start with you. Well, actually, maybe. Are you sure you don't want to sit out of this one?
Yeah. My bold
Stick with the kicker. Stick with the kicker.
Maybe I shouldn't mention anybody by name. Like, maybe I should just steer clear of that. I'm going to go with, in this ball game, I'm going to go with Liberty forces 4 turnovers. And I'm going to say 2 tight end touchdowns. Does that work for you? And then what do you want, a score?
Yeah, give me get a score. Get a score, Matt Warner. What's 11 point favorites if the Flames come out? I believe that's the opening line.
I'm going to say 38-17 Liberty.
Okay.
See, how bold is it if I say, oh, he's going to throw for 5 touchdowns because he just did that? Go ahead.
Yeah. You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, my bold prediction is that I need some Flame fantasy points. Okay? I need some Flame fantasy points, and I need a guy who is a player to deliver for me, and that is Quentin Reese. Quentin Reese gets 2 interceptions, and I'm not stopping there. You think I'm stopping there, Matt Warren? No, I'm not stopping there.
No.
Quentin Reese gets 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble.
Whoa, we're going by name, JauchTalk.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And, folks, we got another good old-fashioned blowout on our hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's an old-fashioned one. It's not a new age one. It's an old-fashioned blowout.
Wait, is it going to be a bloodbath?
It's Barry Switzer and Oklahoma Sooners running the triple option with Jamel Holloway and the whole crew. We're going back. If you know those names, we're going back.
Yeah.
We're talking Flames 55, FIU 7.
Wow.
Bloodbath.
Happy homecoming.
Absolute bloodbath.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go. I'm going to go.
You just always push it just a little too far, don't I, man? Just a little touch.
Yeah, you do.
I'm going to go. Kaidon Salter is going to throw for over 350 yards and then pick up 100 yards on the ground. Having back-to-back games like that is...
350. He'll throw for 350 all day long. That's not bold. Give me something bold. How many touchdowns?
350 passing, 100 rushing.
Oh, okay. You're adding 100 on rushing?
Adding. You don't... If you
okay, I'll listen.
Just continue to interrupt people, then they can never finish their sentence.
Yeah, now I know how Jason feels.
No, he's
Sorry,
actually
Jason.
Why don't I do 48-14? Final score.
Okay.
Coaches are going to start feeling the pressure.
I know.
So
Our
every
bold
week
predictions.
you show them, you got to blow people out.
That's why we
Chadwell
don't.
You created this mess, Chadwell. Chadwell, you created this mess.
Yeah. How much did Emily say we went by? All right, yeah, let's see if we can tack one more on late.
That's why we don't tease with those like bold predictions on social media. You got to really listen. And there's no way anyone's listening this long in the show.
They're not listening this long.
Yeah.
They're not listening.
Okay, thanks so much for listening or watching. Oh, by the way, quick note, women's soccer remains undefeated to finish their non-conference schedule. Pretty impressive. Really excited to see what they're going to be, they are going to do in the CUSA.
How's volleyball doing? We got any update on volleyball?
Really, really tough tournament that they were in Texas. They're coming home. They should be home, I think, for a match here in the next couple days. But they dropped a few.
Yeah,
they're playing the Aggies and some SEC teams. So it'll be great preparation for conference play. So really looking forward to that. All right, thanks again for listening and watching. Thanks to Matt Warner for taking some of his vacation time out to really, I mean, he's really the only one that prepares for this show. So if we didn't have him, this thing would have been a complete train wreck.
I also want to say thanks to Matt Warner because he supplied me with this nice Liberty pullover thing on. And I really like this, man.
Yeah, you should start training for that mile so it is a little bit more.
It shows off my guns really well.
I told you to keep that quiet because now everybody's going to be coming to my office
trying to loot your desk.
Yeah.
I think I touched on it. I don't even know what else we missed.
Got?
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
We'll see you. It's powered by Alcova Mortgage. We'll see you right back here next Monday.